Suleiman,
Saduddin.
how's your week, bro?
My week was good. I would say one of the highlights on my week was watching a film for the second time. The film was called Joker. Have you seen it?
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
You seen Joker?
Yeah.
Have you seen Joker?
I have seen Joker.
Yeah?
Good film, man.
What are you saying? Are people thumbs up? You rate the film or overhyped? What are people's feelings about the film?
Yeah, I thought it was good, man. What do you think, Jay?
Do you know? I thought it was good. I watched it by myself though.
Oh.
So I went to the cinema by myself.
Bro, I rate
That's
that. I've
amazing.
never done that before.
it was. I was by myself anyway.
Yeah.
I wasn't here, but honestly, it was like I really liked it as well. It's proper like twisty and edgy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I didn't know what angle was.
What was it like being in the cinema by yourself? Did it kind of add to the experience, or what's it like?
Yeah, there's no distractions. You don't have to talk to no one. You don't even have to like look over to your shoulder. You don't have to share your popcorn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no other hands coming into your seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously you get up and go by yourself. You don't have to worry about no one else. You go to the toilet when you're on the way out. Like, you don't have to worry about no one. It was just like stress free.
That's it, man. I think going to the cinemas by yourself is ideal quality time for yourself. Like self-love.
Man.
You know what I mean? That's a self-love, self-care routine. But for me, the reason why that stood out to me is just I feel like it's one of those films where you hate and love the main character at the same time. Like, you hate him because obviously he's responsible for so many murders, but you understand him a lot more in terms of his background, his context.
Yeah.
You can't help but feel sorry for him as well. So in terms of the character development, the acting was next level. And yeah, man, that was just my highlight from the week. What about you, Sad?
Yeah, so my highlight, basically I had a conversation before everyone came over, and basically it was a conversation with a guy, and to be fair, I don't know how much this is worth as a highlight, but I just remember in that conversation, this guy, so he's a senior person in like a company, and he's basically like, look, man, I'll just put you in touch with anyone, like that's what I'm here for, kind of thing, innit?
Powerful.
And it just made me think like, bro, this is so like, and he's just putting it out on the table, like, look, I know some people here, if you need anything, let's just go for a coffee. And it reminded me of a conversation I had with a friend of mine recently that we both know, yeah? And he was like to me, bro, like, what is a mentor? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, when we meet up with a mentor, because, you know, some people have that title, like, I'm your mentor, you're my mentee. What is the conversation? Am I supposed to be of benefit to you? Is it just you telling me things? Am I supposed to come prepared for something? Like, what do I actually do? Because it's a weird kind, not weird, but it's like, it's not set in stone what you're supposed to do. Do you get me?
No.
Like, what role do I play? And for me, the reason it reminded me of that is because with this conversation, he just kind of put everything on the table. He's like, look, man, anything, if you just want a sounding board for any idea that you have, whatever it is, just shout me. I live local to you. We can just go for a coffee. You can just walk around the park, whatever it is, innit?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
And someone just laying it, like the outline of that. It was just like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's not even no big stress to him. Like, he wants to see you.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to make the path easier for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that's
Yeah.
you don't get every day either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, having a mentor that genuinely wants the best for you is just beautiful, and at no ad for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%, man.
Yeah.
So that's what it reminded me of.
Sick.
But yeah, man. What about you, Jay? So before I even, you get me, you heard his voice, you get me. This is an old school friend, man. We go way back. We got throwbacks.
We got a lot of
We got a lot of throwbacks. So this is a good friend, someone that, you get me, very inspirational to me. Like, we check in often, and I think over the years, like, every time we have a conversation, it's like, yeah, man, like Jay. Every time you one of them friends that every time you see him do something, you're like, yes, my brother. Put a big smile on your face. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this conversation. So, Jacob, man, how's your week?
First of all, boys, thanks for having me on. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Excited to be here, man. Yeah, no, I had a good week. Obviously, I'm back to work now, so work's good. And do you know what? Like, the thing that touched me this week is that I done a shoot. It was like an unpaid thing, editorial. So editorial, I don't know if you know it, but it's just like, it's for a reason, for like a magazine or whatever. And it was just about men's health, you know, and like men's mental health. And the thing that touched me this week was just like a thing for me is always like partly about looking good, you know, like having a fresh trim, looking slick, getting ready to go out and all of that. And just like the shoot for me that this week was just about that and how that affects you. And obviously through the year that we've all been through, how much that is important to like people and how steady like it kind of carries them, and that's what. Yeah, man.
Before we start the convo, what you mean going down your journey, I want to quickly touch on that topic of mental health, and just generally, you said for you, in terms of like your mental health, in terms of kind of making sure you're balanced, something you like to do is just get dressed, feel good, go out. Is that, would you say that's one of your main kind of
that's part of my cogs, yeah, like having a haircut. Like Sad messages me like every 2 months, every 3 months. Is MJ working?
Yeah, we got the same barber.
Like, he comes to me knowing, because I'm there like every week. It's just part of it, or every 2 weeks, whatever it is. Like obviously I train a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, like looking the part is a big deal. Do you know what I mean? And also I've been doing it my whole life. Fitness has been part of my whole life. So it's just like not being able to do it for me would kind of break me, you know. And that's where like going through all like these hurdles, like I'm one of the sort of people that enjoys that, you know, like having a new hurdle thrown at me, trying to get over it is more important than having a flat road. Like, I enjoy the humps and the hills and all that. So like my first memories of primary school is football.
Yeah.
You know, just like all I ever wanted to, I don't know about you boys, but all I ever wanted to do, I definitely know Sad, but all you ever wanted to do is kick around football. No matter what. Yeah. Maths, English, you do all those lessons, waiting for break time. Break time comes, you're kicking a football before the whistle's even gone. The whistle goes, you're meant to freeze, you're still kicking a football.
I'm meant to freeze, that's a
bro. You remember that? You're meant to freeze. You don't freeze, you get shouted at from across the air. Yeah. So for me, it's always been like from young, always been football.
Was football a big thing in the house? Like, did your family members, were they into football as well?
Yeah. So like, I have 2 brothers. To be fair, we all played football, but I was the one that kind of stuck with it. So like, my older brother, he became a swimmer.
Sick, wow.
Yeah, he was really good. Gave up too young though. And then my little brother got into basketball. But we all grew up to about 12, 13 playing football, and then we all split off from there. I stayed with the other 2, went their ways. So we've always had that sporty household. Like my mum used to be like a runner. Wow. My dad raves about his football career in secondary school. Even to this day, he's like 54 and he's still raving about him in his heyday 30 years ago. Can't believe it, honestly.
Jokes.
Yeah, and that's...
Do you know what? On this topic of football, I can't not talk about me and Jacob. We played each other in the Mayor's Cup, innit?
Bro, I was part of my... I had a little...
Yeah, he was. So this guy, he was clearly, you know, like you play a school, and he was clearly the man, bro. He clearly ran his school. So it was my year 16 versus
Sad
his year 16.
That, but Sad was the same in his school. Don't let Sad twist
arch rivals. Okay.
Bro, do you know how I knew this? Because he knew the referee, bro. I was like, bro, how do you know the ref? Bro, the ref was busting him. You know, he's calling him by his first name. I'm like, bro, how do you know?
Penalties,
bro, he was on, and Jacob was, bro, this guy was like, you know, like he just got his way on the pitch, innit? Yeah. I was like, who's this guy? I was like, who's this guy, bro? Like, but he's a baller. I think they won. Oh, it was a draw or win.
I don't know. Do you know what? Like, I remember playing against you.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the outcome.
I don't remember.
I just remember Sad's feet. Yeah. Sad's a lefty as well, isn't it? So he's just ding, 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 in and out, doing up man and pinging a shot from wherever.
Mayor's Cup.
So that was the first time you guys met?
That was the first time I saw him.
Unofficially. Unofficially.
Okay.
Then I see this guy at secondary school. This guy ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, let's get into secondary school. I'll start off with a first memory I had of Jay, So I remember, like, this was the first interaction. So we were sitting next to each other. I think this is maths. And so I think it's me and him. And then there's a girl sitting to the right of Jay, and she has a pencil case, and Jacob didn't have a pen in it. So he goes to me, goes like that, innit? And he just takes a pen out of a pencil case and starts writing. And he starts writing. I was like, yeah. So that was like, I remember that was the first interaction I had with Jacob, man. But that was early doors, year 7.
Early doors.
Do you remember that?
Do you know what? When he was, before he said it, I couldn't. But then I remember that, because I remember Sad used to have like fuzzy hair. Yeah. Obviously no beard in it. But I do remember that situation.
Yeah.
I think I remember the person who I stole the pen off, which is a normal thing for me.
Yeah. How would you describe yourself in that like year 7? Yeah. Let's say key stage 3, right? 7, 8, 9.
Mischievous. Like I started off year 7 really scared, innit? Like being real, like Sad was saying, like I can't remember how I forgot my pencil case that day, but I was like so on it. Like I was doing all my homework. Like, you know, when you get to secondary school, you're scared, especially because you got a big sibling as well. I had a big sibling. Sad had a big sibling in school as well. Yeah. Like, you kind of want to do them justice. Yeah. Like, you don't want to mess up sort of thing. And then there was just this one teacher in year 7. Like, remember her, Miss Kemp?
Oh,
DT.
Yeah. I remember with the portfolio, innit? Yeah. I remember.
And
Miss
Kemp. I remember this story so perfectly, yeah. Like, I genuinely forgot my homework at home. Like, absolutely forgot it. Like, I'd done my homework, I forgot it. She didn't care. Like, it was like, you're getting a detention. And I was so scared of detention. I've never had a detention at this point. She goes, you're getting a detention. I was like, what? I was like, but miss, I didn't do anything. I done it. She goes, no, I don't care. Go to is it F501?
F105.
No, but it wasn't that. It was 508 or something like that.
Yeah.
Before, upstairs, in Thames Block.
Yeah.
You don't do it too well, you know.
Bro, I was there too much.
Bro.
And after that day, I just went wild, man.
They broke you in with that first
detention.
After that,
you realize, no matter what, you're gonna be in detention.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're here now. It's done. So like, obviously the first half of year 7, I would say first couple of months I was good. Then obviously things went downhill a little bit, and I sad to mention, but I actually went to another school for a year.
Oh, is it?
I left. Yeah, I left.
What, year 8 or year 9?
So the whole of year 8, I went to another school.
Okay.
Literally because the football club I was playing for, the owner or like the sponsor of the team sponsored that school. So like I didn't even have to sign an application form. I was literally into the school. That's where my little brother went. So I was there for a year. But I'd message everyone at Ashcroft, you know, like on Bebo and that, sending love hearts to everybody, like messaging, keeping in touch, MSN days.
Yeah,
literally just like staying in touch with everyone. Right. I was like, at the new school, I'm here, I like it, I've got good friends. I've still got friends to this day from that school. But they're not my people. Like, when you go, I think year 7 is a crucial time. When you go through year 7 with a year group, especially like having, like I had like Sad, I had like on our side, I had like Junior, Shaq. I had so many good friends, that were like me, that I didn't want to be without them, innit? So then I got back in year 9. They let me back in. Silly mistake.
Do you know jokes? Yeah. In year 8, I remember there was rumors like, Jacob's coming back, bro. It was a big deal. It was like, Jacob's coming back.
I remember I'd come back in for an interview and I'd be like, yeah, miss, like I'm gonna be really good. I'm not gonna get any detention. 2 months later, the head teacher was like, you're the worst mistake ever.
Really?
Letting you back in. Miss John was
way.
like, my worst mistake is letting you back in. But she's just being spiteful. She was just that kind of teacher anyway.
You know what I'm interested? How did you and your boys react to like not having your boy there for a year? Like, how did you guys feel about that?
It was odd because I remember, me, Jay, and another friend of ours, Ishmael, we used to go home together. And basically, in our school, it was in Southwest, innit? So we were the West lot. Literally, that's how we were the West lot. So the Southwest lot, they go home left, we go home right, yeah. So that was the free, and bro, Jacob and with Jacob and Ishmael, they kind of showed me the ropes of the school buses. I never used to take bus; I used to take tube, innit. So I remember with them, man, I was like, it's gonna be an adventure. Imagine jumping on the 220
the whole way in as well.
So man, it was weird because I can't remember. I feel like the thing is, I remember it happening in sixth form as well. Like, one of our friends goes, we kind of just have to find like someone to replace Jay.
You need a filling spot, innit?
And I remember me and Ishmael used to bust joke like, this is Jacob's replacement. Like, you're the new Jacob, innit? and then Jacob come back, and then we started going home together again. All right, mate. So done. He's back now. He's like, but it's my chair. He's like, nah, mate. He sits there, innit?
That's jokes.
Yeah. So, I remember that period.
I see. Sad showed us the ropes on the train as well. I used to hate trains. Like being near a train used to scare me because it's a train, innit? And
we had adventures on the tube, boy. We had some adventures on the way home.
What adventures, man? Tell us about some adventures you guys had.
Bro, we used to terrorize everyone. I remember one of the youngest memories of Sad. Yeah, it's just that when we were on I think it's like the Piccadilly line or the District. Yeah. the doors open. You can go through carriages. We would go along the whole train, just opening like school kids, these naughty school kids, just opening up the doors and going through, like just like causing havoc, but like not in a like we were never bad kids. Do you know what I mean? Like we were just bit, what's the word?
Energetic.
Yeah. And not only that, we used to stock up on sweets after school as well. The corner shop.
Yeah. The chip butties. Remember the chip butties, bro? Oh, that was different, man. Chips in a sandwich. That was the first time I had it.
Game changer.
60p, bro.
60 pence. Oh, bro.
Yeah, that was good.
What can you get for 60p now?
But nothing.
Not even a chocolate bar. Yeah, I'd say for like year 9 onwards, obviously key stage 4, it was like I took it all for granted. You know, like I didn't. When everyone else would study, I'd study a little bit, and also like I was also going. I was kind of growing into a man at that point. Like I was a bit bigger than the other boys, not all of them, but also like I wasn't growing up enough. I wasn't growing up quick enough. So like Sad and Ez and all this, they would always be in like the library doing work and stuff, or going football, and I'll be going football to my football. Like I was also hanging around with older boys. Yeah. So it was like an older boys who weren't really academics. Like I'm not an academic person. Mm-hmm. Like it's mad. Like even now I go back and study. It's like you never think it. I'm 25 and like going back to but it's just you realize you never stop learning. And I just messed around, I'd say, for my school years. I done all right at GCSEs. Like there's obviously there's people who've done a lot worse, but I didn't mature up, you know. And then like Sad was saying, when he got to year 11, I started working. So like my older brother, obviously you want to be like your older brother, so he had a ped. Yeah. So then I was like, I want a ped. Like, how can he have one that I can't? And I remember this, and my uncle has a restaurant, so he needed someone. So I thought, yeah, that's me. And my brother was like, you're never gonna buy a ped. Like you're not gonna get one. You won't be able to. So in a month of working, I worked my arse off that much that I got a ped. Sick. And insurance and everything. I was like, oh my God. And I'd drive it to school. I literally felt like the man. I'd have my helmet in my bag. Like I'd park it up. And obviously after a week I crashed it.
No way.
Yeah. I crashed it. But that's not really a big, like, I didn't hurt myself or nothing. It got fixed. And then the teachers, obviously it was talk of the town. Teachers realised, and I was like, oh yeah, you're not.
Where did you park it up?
So at the start, I'd park it out right outside. Yeah. So everyone would see me get on it. Like I wouldn't be able to hide it. Like it was just I was like, yeah, like the year 11s before me, no one done that. The sixth formers, no one was doing it. So it was just like I felt like the guy. And then obviously once the teachers clocked there, like, so, you know, someone actually passed away like 5 years before us. So their thing was, for my safety, you're not allowed to ride to school. So I just park it around the corner. Same thing, helmet in the bag. But yes, and obviously that didn't help to my rep in school. Like teachers weren't my biggest fans. But then obviously I had, like, we say mentors now, but like when I was back in school, I had the teacher who's my favourite teacher. Hopefully she watches this. Big D, Miss Donna Afriye. Yeah. And she like helped me so much, like through school. I was going through like a lot of stuff in school. Like obviously my temper and stuff. Like I was very irrational. Things weren't going my way, like in life, like with football and stuff like that. So I was very irrational. And she just helped me out massively, like calm me down. And even to this day, still checks in, still see her. Like I even work now in a school that she used to teach in. So she got us in there, so I'd see her every week. Amazing. Yeah.
Wait, sorry to interrupt you, but was it you and Jacob that used to do the sports coach together?
Yeah. Bro, so in the previous episode, we were talking about bringing culture, and I mentioned you, and we were talking about this idea of like that was just how it was. Like if someone gets something, everyone gets brought in.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? It's mad that I'm still like that to this day. Anything I do, it's like it's something small, but even with like my birthday parties, yeah, I have so many different friends who would never know each other. They have no reason of coming together other than me. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's even like I have a guy that I was speaking to, is like one of my brother's friends who's been kind of mentoring me, and he just said it's like you're the glue. Like you're a person that will stick people together, and like I don't. That's why I'd love to, like in life, I'd love to get to that point where I could be a mentor, because I don't like, it doesn't faze me to bring someone on board, or I'd want someone to do better than me at this age, at my age now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's why I love also, I'm going off on a tangent, but I love teaching kids, because kids are like, they are shaped at teenage years. Is mad. It's like what Donna done for me. I could have gone completely left. I'm not saying I haven't got a good family home, but having that at school as well is something that I needed. I needed that. Some people like me needed the reinforcements of this is what's good and this is what you need to do. So like, so when I started coaching in college days, I was still at college at this point, and then I was like, hey, Sad, there's some work here. Do you want to come and work? And then obviously it started off as like me and Sad would work together, we'd have a laugh, but then obviously things get a little bit more serious, and like there's other sessions that we can't do together, which was like, all right, cool, you're working over here. Oh man, all right, cool. And then we'd have sessions together where we just like mess around for like 2 hours and just kick a ball at each other. Like, it's mad. The kids would be there, but you lot sit down, me and Sad got to play ends. And like from me doing that as well, like Sad brought in everyone as well. Like it just doesn't stop. And I think like our friendship group is so special in that there's not anyone that would want to hold any of us, any one of us down. Do you know what I mean? If we're doing something, come. It's not a thing where it's like, nah, I'm doing this, you got to do your thing. Like, or like acting shady with it. There was none of that ever, sort of thing.
Yeah, bro. Jacob's birthdays, honestly, they're so special. Basically, as you mentioned, his uncle owns a restaurant, Chacos on Harrow Road.
Just off Harrow Road, yeah.
What kind of cuisine is it? Sorry to interrupt.
Nah, bro.
Cypriot, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Tzatziki, you didn't know about tzatziki?
Yeah. Banging food, yeah. But basically, it's literally, I think it's since you were like 18, 19. Was it 19 the first one? Or 20?
Maybe 20.
Yeah, but basically, like a group of people, we kind of just have a half of the restaurant, basically. And it's just a very cozy environment. I just love that restaurant. And it's just like the same group-ish of people, like 20 odd people, same. And literally, like Jay said, you don't see them for a whole year, then you see them again, and it's like, pick up where you left off for that year. What's the year been like? Mad. Boom, boom, boom. And like Jay said, so many of those people, you get me, out. They're not like, you wouldn't come across them in your world, and it's like that for everyone, innit? Because everyone kind of creates their own kind of world, and it's like that bringing together is just so special. Like it's something you look forward to. Like, yes, Jacob's birthday again. Yeah.
It's something special for me. I know, like even having like Sad there, and like I've got Sad there who I've known for 15 years, and I've got someone who I've known for a year. There's someone that I've just started recently working with. Like, do you know what I mean? There's so many different groups of people that are all just brought together, and it's like a networking event. Yeah, without it being a networking event.
I was gonna say that.
What's your line of work? You know.
So what do you do? Do you know what I mean? It's like.
At the same time, it's a bit like your timeline. It's a bit like your biography, your autobiography,
Absolutely.
Everything, all your history in one room, basically. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's worth noting, the ability to have all of your friends from all different walks of life in a room is a power, because like it's like that means for me, what that says to me is that you're yourself everywhere. Because it's not like, do you know what I mean? Because sometimes like I can't bring these people around these, because then I like this around these people and like this around that people. And if they see that I'm not acting like this here and that there, it might, do you get me? So I think being able to just boom, boom, and everyone kind of knows that like Jay's Jay, innit?
Yeah. And
I think that's quite beautiful.
Do you know what? That's something I've actually thought about throughout like my whole life. Like I've had a few relationships and stuff like that. And one thing for me is that I don't want to change. Like no matter who I'm with, I still want to be me. And for me, that's more important than anything.
I want to speak about, okay, so we coach together, and obviously you work in schools as well.
Yeah.
So what's that kind of like what like when you're in school, what's it kind of like? Because obviously not too long ago, like for example, you were talking about primary school. We've worked in primary schools together. You're talking about secondary school. You've worked in secondary schools together. So what's it kind of like being on both sides of that coin?
I think it's quite special in a sense that in secondary schools, like teaching year 10s and 11s, because knowing that's when my big change was, you know, and it's like as a man, you starting to put pressure on yourself. Like, what am I gonna do? I want football. How am I gonna? And just seeing these young boys and talking to them and just trying to help them and talk to them as humans. Because I think as a teacher, you automatically have that block between teacher student, and you want to keep that as a thing. Whereas I'm not going in as a teacher, I'm going in as a coach. So then when the boys do want to talk to me, when I see them, they're looking down, I'll be like, are you good? What's going on? Their first response isn't, and walk away. It'll be like, they'll give me something, and then I'll bite on that, and I'll give a little bit more. And before you know it, they're opening up to you. It's like, obviously, within safeguarding and all of that, there's only so, but they can have an honest chat with me and be themselves and actually have an adult outlet rather than it being a teacher block, which is something that was important to me with Donna. I could talk to Donna as a human, not as a teacher. She'd throw that teacher block away, and obviously there was nothing serious going on where she would have to contact anyone, whatever. But she could talk to me, and I think that's something I've relayed into my teaching in school. Obviously, primary school kids are just kids. You know, they just want to be naughty. You got to let the naughty kids be naughty. You got the kids who want to do well. They're doing well. Like, nobody really knows who they want to be. Like, and they're kind of themselves. Whereas in secondary school, there's a lot of pressure of who do I want to be? Like, am I this guy? Am I not? And also because I work in schools that aren't always the best schools. You get the kids that can also go off. And that's where having like the touch that Donna helped me with, talking to them.
So what was that transition from year 11 to year 12 like for you?
It's a whirlwind, man. Do you know what I mean? Everything I'd known, like I wasn't allowed back at sixth form, so everything I'd known was completely different now. I was going somewhere I didn't want to go. I was doing something I didn't really want to do. And also, I didn't really know where I wanted to go, you know? So it was like everything was all up in the air. And the only one solid thing I had really was working. And I was still working. So I kind of based everything around that. But I knew that I didn't want to be a complete mess up. And I needed to go to college. So I actually went to college, went to Hammersmith College, and studied sport because that's all I know. So my first year, I didn't really take it that seriously. It was a BTEC, so I didn't get my head down. I was kind of still like going to work, going out, going around. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So that's where I started working with the charity that I did. And I think you had to be 18, if I'm right, to work. I can't remember. But yes, and I started working there. And it kind of gave me another look on like what I wanted to do. Because like I said, I wanted to be a teacher. And at this point, I still kind of wanted to be a teacher. So like in college, I've done very well at my BTEC. So I was able to leave and go to uni. I just wasn't able to go to the uni I wanted to go to. But I kind of had a taste of teaching. So I was like, in my head, I was like, all right, teaching's the way that I want to go. How do I do it? So then I started coaching, and I started coaching in schools. And that's where I realized I didn't really want to be a teacher, like I was saying earlier, but I liked that part of it. And I didn't really think about the bigger picture then. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then after that, what did I do after that? College. So when I was in college, that's when I started training. So before college, believe it or not, I was actually a little bit of a twig. Yeah, I was actually quite skinny. And my little brother started training before I did. So then I started training. And then once I started training, I've always been a very, very lucky person. Touch wood, carry on being lucky. But like that's where my modeling career started. I got scouted at a job. Literally the first time this has ever happened, someone was just like, "You could be a model. Do you want to be a model?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I got scouted. I got placed at an agency, and for the first few months, like things went so well. Like I was booking jobs. I went to Paris. Nice. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like one of my first jobs. I was in Paris. Mm-hmm. After that, I didn't go away for like 3 years, but but before that, is like the opportunity came and I took it. So ever since that point, I've winged my way through life. Like until about, I'd say, I still kind of am now. I'm doing all right. Yeah. But I didn't have direction. That kind of added to my direction. So I had coaching, I had the restaurant, I had modeling now. So I was like, ooh. And I still had college, but obviously at this point, I'm thinking financial. College took a back seat. So then that's where I started getting a little bit of trouble. I was in college, I'd grown out of being naughty. I'd grown out of being shouting out and being that kind of guy. But I did realize that for me to do anything else, I need to sit down and do it. So I done that, completed that part of my life. And then it's funny, like as soon as college stopped, so did the jobs. Do you know what I mean? So did the modeling. So everything got quiet. So then I was coaching more. I was working at the restaurant more, and I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do. And then obviously, like, I don't know if you know, but obviously the industry is crazy. And it's not an industry that I would say for anyone to want to go into, because once you're in, you don't want to get out, and it's quite hard to get out because you put quite a few years in. But it's just like it's a meat market, you know. Like you don't really. It's how you look, and if you don't look the part, and it's a massive blow to you as a human. Like for someone to say no, I don't want you, it's just like, oh, like that hurt.
You know what I'm interested to ask you? It's a very big topic these days, but like social media and the way social media impacts people's kind of sense of self-worth. Like, especially in the modeling industry, where social media plays a big part, right? I don't know, do you think social media is healthy? Like, what do you think it's a healthy environment for models and people to exist in? Like, what's your own personal experiences with that?
I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's something that Stormzy said, yeah, especially him being a musician. Social media gives too many people access to you, and in that access, they can either compliment you or they can slander you. And nobody should be open to that much of either. Do you know what I'm saying? So like when you posted something good, like you're going to get hate, you're going to get all of that, but you shouldn't be open to that much, that love. Do you know what I mean? There's too much highs and lows. And I feel like nowadays, like Sad always goes to me. I was like, I don't know how you haven't got 10k followers. This, that, all the time.
Bro, I say to Jake, bro, you know you're getting bumped. You know you're getting bumped.
But like for me, obviously I would love that, but at the same time, it doesn't really make a difference to me because I have a life outside of it, and it's quite crazy that like I've been on jobs with people who do have a crazy following. And they'll sit on their phone and spend their time on their phone and think about what they're going to post and this and that. And I'm like, but what do you actually do with your life? Like, what does an evening look like to you? Do you have any friends? Do you spend time with people? So for me, social media is super. I think it outweighs not the benefits, the other side. What's it called? Why am I stuttering? The lows outweigh the highs for me in social media, like especially people who use it for financial gain. But it was built for a fun place, you know, to see your friend. Like it's mad. Like when I watch you guys' podcast, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go into that. If YouTube weren't there, I wouldn't be able to watch it. Do you know what I mean? And everything's so easily accessible. Nothing should be. You know, it's crazy that everything in the 21st century is so easily accessible. That I could literally go into your podcast and be like, nah, this is terrible. And you'll be like, what? What's going on? Or I could post, oh, nah, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's what you guys doing anyway, like, with that is amazing. But, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Definitely, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
I love the way you put it, though. I love the way that you Stormzy's quote. I really like that Stormzy's quote in terms of a human being shouldn't experience that level of highness and that level of lowness, and the fact that it can kind of go both ways so quickly. That's disorientating for the human. You can't handle that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Where's the level line? It's not.
Yeah.
What are some insights that you've gained from like training people one-on-one? Like, you have a very intimate relationship with individuals, and you help to kind of bring them up, not just physically but mentally as well. So what are some things that you've kind of learned from those experiences?
Just that everyone's going through something, man. Like everyone's got their own demons, and also like just understanding someone and how to, like, from coaching kids as well, just how to deal with different people differently. And like, obviously on a PT level, it's you and that person for an hour. You're their counselor and their trainer. Like sometimes I've had PTs where we've sat down and had a chat like for like an hour before we've trained.
Right.
And like, it's the most beautiful thing because they're opening up to you and being vulnerable, which is like, I've always thought, oh, that's weak. How can you be vulnerable with someone that's weak? But it's like, that's the most powerful thing you can do, like showing someone vulnerability. Yeah, and also being vulnerable with them as well, because like I'm going through stuff and like I've got someone to open up to too. So it's like, all right, I'm your counselor, now you're mine. Like we're bouncing off each other. And also just working out how other people's, like everyone's lives are different, and how I've kind of gone off on a tangent, but yeah, just being that, because training's easy. It's that getting your mind right and training and learning how to tap into people's minds to make them better versions of themselves, Like I can't just shout out at everyone because that's not going to work. Like for instance, like when I'm training, scream at me. Like if I want to tap out, nah. Like you have to, let's go. Whereas other people's like, come on, you've got this.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you've got this. Yes, that's it. One more. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like learning how to be a different person for different people.
What would you say you are, Saadudeen? How would you like, if you had a personal trainer, would you prefer for them to shout in your ears, or I don't know, what would you prefer?
That's a good question, I think only in training. Do you know what I like? I can't answer that question directly, but I like to know exactly what I'm getting into. Like I want to know the number of whatever you want me to do. Give me the number. Give me how long it typically takes. I want to know all the details. I wouldn't want to sort of just go for 10 minutes, do whatever you want. Like I need to know exactly, innit? Because in my mind, I need to be able to count down. Like, all right, cool. I got this. I did this much. I got this much to do. That sort of thing. So that for me really helps.
I think someone telling you that you can't do this at the beginning of the session.
Really?
Just underestimating you, bro. This is what you need to do, but I don't think you're going to be able to do it.
What, would that work with you?
Oh, the reverse psychology is sad.
I bet that would work with Saadudeen, I'm not going to lie.
What about you?
For me, similar to you, but like a bit of everything, man. A bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you do need someone to shout at you and like get into that kind of, for lack of a better word, animalistic mind. You know, you're just like really, really base level. Like,
but let me ask you like this then, yeah. So so that's like, let's say working out, like physical activity. What about in the workplace? Like, how is that different? Like in terms of, let's say your boss, how would you want your boss to be like with you in the workplace? How similar would you want them to be to a coach at a gym?
I think as a boss, I hate that word anyway.
Yeah.
I hate that word. But as a boss or as the manager, senior person,
manager, but
like you want someone to be there, like I think you connect more with someone who's been there, done that. And I think the big thing is like, I've got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like you look up to someone, for instance, like I want to be a pro baller. He's been a pro baller. I'm going to ask him how he's got there. I'm not going to ask the coach that's coached Sunday League for the rest for his whole life. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and also you want them to be personable. You want them to be relatable. You want to be able to speak to them. And I think as a boss, you don't really want to be shouted at, or like as a worker, I would say.
Yeah, that's because I remember being asked this question about like, how do you feel comfortable in a work environment being shouted at? And I remember thinking, who on earth would say yes to that? So what about you, Suleiman?
You know, it's really interesting that you asked that question, because I recently had a team meeting with some of the people I work with at Team Upside, and we've recently established our values as an organization, and it spells out the word upside. Out of all of those ones, the one I want to talk about now is the U, upskill. I think the best thing that any manager can do is try to upskill their team, try to make them a better person than they were at the beginning, try to invest in them. Like all of the biggest companies in the world, like one that comes to mind is McKinsey, big consulting company. One thing that they're known for is that if you come to McKinsey, we'll pay for you to go to Harvard. We'll pay for you to go to the MBA, do an MBA course. And obviously that's a macro version, but like just being able to invest in your team, giving them training opportunities, giving them learning opportunities. I think that's the best thing you can do as a manager.
I also think I know it breeds loyalty, you know, and it breeds that, all right, I'm worth something to you. Like you're like putting this into me. All right, what can I do for you now? And I think it's a whole it's such a simple scheme, but not everyone does it. So it's like, you want that. Like you want someone to believe in you. You want someone to like what's Harvard? Got to be silly money, right?
Silly money.
100. No, I think do you know what I mean? I think about 100, 150. Like I remember from Suits. But for someone to invest that in you, it's like, oh my God, someone's investing in me, and like you have to do them proud. You know, it's like also like with your parents. You know, like you want to do them proud, but people who generally do well, like they have people who help them. They have like people who invest in them, and it's I think even from like relating it back to coaching, that is exactly it. Like uplifting these kids, investing in them. Like I bought a kid a pair of boots. He didn't have a pair of boots. I didn't get nothing from it. I didn't even tell the people that I was working for, but he came to class every time. After that, he was there. It wasn't, oh, I ain't got trainers today, so I no, you're coming. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a massive thing.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
Well, bro, for me, it's like £40.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's not even, it's not about the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, money comes, money goes. I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm really not. But, it's just, it's just about that for me, man.
Yeah.
Just looking after others. I want to do something where I could bring all my boys in. Like I remember saying to Sad a couple of years ago, I want to do something where we've all got a job, where we've all got a living, where like I love that burden. Like I want people to be able to rely on me. Like that pressure is crazy, but to be able to, like, I want to be at that point where like we've all got houses and we're all in this together. Like we've all got our kid, like all our kids go and play together. Like what we do, and we all meet up for like a big dinner, like at my house. Got the garden there, got the playground outside. Everyone goes and plays. Do you know what I mean? Adults are inside. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's something that I want. How I get there is that I need to take over the world, man. I need to take over the fitness industry. That's my next career goal. Is just like I was saying, for the next chunk of my life is just better myself in a way that in 5 years' time, potentially I'm ready to open up my own thing, or even before that point, you know, I don't know, as long as I stop trying to be lucky and actually put my head down and work super hard.
Do you know what I love about that? He's got a vision. Like there's a visualization there. You know what I mean? You've got an idea of what a perfect moment looks like to you. Friends around you, inside, children outside in the garden. That's a very clear image in your head. And I think, I don't know, to what extent is visualization something that you do, Sadadine? I don't know. It's something I don't do enough, but I want to start doing more. Like literally trying to paint a picture in my head and working towards that picture maybe.
I think there's a healthy way of doing it though. Obviously, like I've done this with my mentor, where I've like, he's like, what do you want from life? Like financial freedom. Like gone through all of that, but obviously, like we're human. There's gonna be bumps in the road. There's gonna be, so it's like you were saying, like I want that. Like, I'm obsessed with it, but I'm not crazily, like if it doesn't happen, I'll be very upset. But I won't I hope it won't break me. Do you know what I mean? As a human, like not everything goes to plan, but I think if you set the steps up right, then for sure it's gonna go in that direction. And something we were talking about earlier was just about opportunities and for children and stuff like that, and how I'd like when we was talking about school earlier, and how it paves the way for your adult. What's the word? Like how powerful our teenage years are and how they affect the rest of your life. And like for me, like something big for me, which is something that I really would love to do, is put my kids through private school. And the reason for doing that is I wouldn't judge anyone who doesn't, but just for me, it's about stacking up those odds. Like no matter what you want to do, whether my kids, like me and Sad were saying about like our school and sports, like in our borough, like state schools aren't that good at sports. And like I know private school teachers who just like they've got sports on Saturdays. They've got full fixtures. They play on the week. They non-stop sports. The academic, they're always studying. There's no naughty kids. Like it's mad. Like the worst they have to say, they do a countdown from 10 once. How many times have we been counting down from 10? Bro, we're like 10. Wait, another 10 seconds for 9. You know what I mean? Like these are like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So everything's patterned. And I think I want to give my next generation the highest odds that I possibly can, because like my parents done well. All of our parents done well. We're all healthy, good men. But I think with that aspect of things, it just kind of just makes it a lot easier, you know.
I know that you've basically worked in every type of school. So from the school that you go to when you get kicked out of that place that you get kicked out of, to the school that you pay X mad amount of money for. So how much has that informed that your point of view on like private, sending your kids, wanting to send your kids to private school?
It's crazy. Like it's like the difference in surroundings and in like just on the way that people get in and out of school. Do you know what I mean? It's completely different. You know, like people like I was saying with those kids, the school where people were kicked out of, it's like they've given up and they're teenagers. Like they're literally they're willing to throw their whole lives away because they don't even know. They don't know that like the people above them, like not above them, sorry, like their parents and stuff, they don't know how to control them. They don't. But whereas with the private school is that it's not cool to be naughty. It's not cool to be kicked out. It's not cool to be the troublesome. Yeah, you can be a lad. Yeah, being a lad to a certain extent, but it's not. You don't have to worry about all the trouble about going home and getting on the wrong bus and like someone picking on you. You don't have that outsider, the pressure. You just live your life. Like you live in a bubble, and ideally, like that's what I would love to do.
Okay, let me push you on this. Yeah. So you said it puts them in a bubble. Would you say that is a good thing or a bad thing? Like where do you stand on that?
Do you know what? I would say it's not the best place to be in the bubble, but having a parent who's been through it changes that bubble.
Okay.
Smart.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a good answer still.
Like, I've been through it and I get that choice, you know. It's not like, it's just like, yeah, they're going to private school. Yeah. It's like, I'm never going to go to state school. It's horrible. Like, it's not that. It's just more like, I'm doing this for you guys. It's not like you're not going to be around people who don't go to state schools. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not completely shut off from life. But being academic is such a massive part to life that is, everyone should do. Even if you're not like me, I'm not the most academic person, but if I was forced to study, things would be different, you know? Like everything was, like I made my choices, but like when we left school, it wasn't a big deal. I didn't do my homework. It wasn't a big deal. Like it was never, like it wasn't not cool to not do. Like, I was like, all right, cool, I've got his attention. I'm not going to go to that. I'm going to do an hour after school.
Yeah.
But I think
I feel like it comes down to your priorities. And the way that Jacob's kind of expressed his priorities, academics, opportunities, infrastructure, all of those things are fundamental. Those are fundamental things you want to be able to provide your children. Other people might have different priorities. Their priorities might prioritize culture or social diversity or just not being out of touch with how the common man lives and just being around different types of people. Some people might prioritize that. And other people, like I would say, usually we try to go for the balanced approach, right? And maybe the balanced approach is a grammar school. Maybe the balanced approach is a high-performing state school. Like maybe there's a balance where we can get the benefits of everything together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always a binary decision between private and state.
Yeah.
I always think about why do kids at these certain state schools not behave well compared to kids at private schools in terms of, okay, I'm not phrasing this question right, but like, you know, when you go on the bus and then you might get into an altercation. Why would those kids kind of
snowball?
Why would those interactions snowball? But if a private school kid went on the bus, it's less likely that an altercation will snowball. Yeah, so what's the difference between those two experiences? I've got my ideas, but I'm sure you guys have your ideas as well. What do you think?
First of all, I think from us being on the bus and things kicking off, nobody tries to calm it down. There's no mediator. There's no one trying to sort the issue out. Everyone on the bus will kind of turn their eye to it and like, oh, that's happening over there. I'm not going to get involved. And especially because of the schools that we're from and things will just kick. Like there's no peacemaker. I think whereas potentially with I don't know, man. Gonzad, you take over. I'll jump back. I'll jump back on that. I kind of know what I want to say. I just need to know how I need to phrase it.
And I think that's a great question. Why does it snowball? I think one of the biggest factors is that it's a chance of like making a name for yourself or like building a reputation. And I think that's important at any age, in any culture, anywhere in the world. You want to build a reputation for yourself. Absolutely. And I think at state school, that's an opportunity to build a reputation. So wherever, even what we're doing now, we all want to build a reputation. Fitness industry, you get me, whatever it is, academia, whatever it is, you want to build a reputation. And I think that is in state school because of the opportunities you're presented, because of what you see, because of what you're growing up around, because of what you feel like your life trajectory is going, this is going to get me on the ladder. If I punch up this brother on the bus, people are gonna know about it. Gonna get some stripes, and I think I think that's a huge part of this is me building myself. And maybe in a private school sense, because what you see is far more broad, or I don't know, it's just different, broad, but also perhaps different. You kind of go, I don't even need to do this because I know if I start doing this from now, I'll give you guys an example that for me I remember. Yeah, so. I didn't think in secondary school, you don't really think of careers. Like being a lawyer is like a very abstract thing, or being a doctor is just a very abstract thing. You might know someone that knows someone that knows someone that happens to be a lawyer, but you've never met them, or you get me. But I remember the first time I heard how much a lawyer can make. Yeah, I was like 18 or so, like that was the first time I heard that number ever, and I was like, what? And I remember clearly feeling like, why did no one tell me this? I was, like in yourself, you're just vexed. You're like, bro, why the hell did no one tell me this? But obviously, that was me speaking at 18 to myself or 17. And I remember feeling really annoyed. I was like, fam, if I knew that you could do this, it's kind of like, and I remember there were so many instances, conversations you have with friends like, are we doing, bro, I remember like 15, 14, people be like, what are you doing to get money? Obviously, that's kind of a conversation about a certain thing. Like, what are you doing? Bro, that's not a conversation. That's not a conversation you ask a 14-year-old, isn't it?
No.
Or even still, let's say if you're in a private school or whatever, you might say, I'm looking at the stock market. I'm trying to do that when I'm 18. Or I'm trying to do this. I'm working to myself, become a lawyer. But at that time, you either say nothing or, you get me, you're selling whatever. So I think it's interesting in terms of just the response to that question at 14, 15. It's kind of like, well, you're either doing nothing or you're doing this. That's it.
You don't want to be doing nothing.
Exactly. And you get me?
You don't want to be doing nothing. In 5 years' time, if I look back at this, I'd like to be on the way to where I'd like to be, you know. Few of the stones stepped on, you know, moving in that direction. And also, like, I wouldn't want to change, you know, from everything I've said from the start to this, like, it's all been or changing in a positive way. I wouldn't want to lose, like, my personal values that I've, you know. And
can you talk a bit more about that? Because you said that earlier on in the conversation, and I wanted to kind of bring it out a bit more. Like, what are these personal values that you hold really close to who you are? Like, what are those values?
This is where, like, people would think I'm different to what I actually am, but I'm a massive family person, a massive friends person. I'm like I'm a social guy. I love being with my friends. I love, like, whoever, like, my partner at the time. I love being with them. Like, I love being with everyone. I love bringing everyone together. So like for me, it's about that. It's that community spirit. My own little community, you know, like having, like, if I need someone, like, I can call anyone at any point of the day. I could call someone and they will answer, you know. It's not the fact that, like we were saying with social media earlier, like, I could have 100k followers and no one to call. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what do you really want from life? Like, or have, like, 3k and you can call 10 people, you know. It's like, for me in that, it's just, like, the most important thing, like, having reliable people. Like when we get a bit older and I drop my kid off to SAD, like, I know my kid's gonna be all right. I know he's gonna be studying non-stop. But I know he's gonna be all right and he's gonna come back a good person. Like, having also good people around you. I think, like, having people who like SAD says it all the time, but, like, and he said it earlier, like my friends inspire me. There's not one of my friends. There's obviously friends who are doing better than me. There's friends who aren't doing as well as me. It's all on a spectrum, but I'm inspired by every single one of those people around me. Like Sad's been studying forever.
Bro, do you know what he says to me all the time? He's like, bro, you're always revising, bro. You're always revising for exam.
I can't lie to you. There was points in life I was like, Sad, come play ball. Like, look, we got a football set. He goes, no, I'm studying. Sad, come, we're gonna go here. No, I'm studying. Sad, come on, please. Like, come out. Like, I'm always out, but Sad, come out, please. Like, at least once. But for me, like, we're laughing about it now, but that's amazing. Like, when Sad said he's going to Cambridge, I was like, what? Sad. Cambridge? What? Yeah, law? What? Are you mad? Like, yeah, doesn't get any better. Do you know what I mean? And to see, like, one of my best friends doing that is just like I forget sometimes. I'm like, oh shit. Like, how's Sad? Like, what's he up to? I know he's studying, but how's he doing? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and we're never that far away from each other where, like, I could pick up the phone and call Sad. And, like, when Sad comes down, I'm like, Sad, you come to my birthday? Yeah, bro. Like, even though we don't see each other nowhere near as much as we used to. Yeah. But, like, that is a prime example of me. Like, having someone like Sad around, like, it's just, like, it's top tier, you know. Like, having friends who are doing top business, and, like, now our conversations aren't, well, they're probably lower with me than other people. They're not low level conversations. Like, we can have a conversation where it's actually important stuff, where he's talking about what he wants to do, what I want to do next, what's the next step. He's pushing me to do something that I still haven't done 4 years later. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's no longer, hey, do you fancy a chip butty? Or what time we meeting up? And we're like, do you know what I mean? It's just, like, we've moved on in our life. Like, when we have kids, what are you going to have your children around? Like, are they going to be inspired by me? It's like I was saying about one of my clients. I think for his son, his biggest inspiration is his dad. Do you know what I mean? And yes, you can have all the money in the world, but if you have all that money, what inspires you now? And I think as long as you have that role model that you look up to and you believe in, that's the epitome of life for me, man. And that's exactly what I want to do, and that's exactly how I am with my friends, you know.
If you enjoyed this video, like, share it with someone that you know. Rate on 5 stars if you're listening to Apple Podcast. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Jeez. That's a wrap.
Oh.